Good afternoon and welcome to Fort Fisher State Historic Site in Kure Beach, North Carolina. We are here at the site of the greatest earthwork fortification in the Confederacy. Fort Fisher protected the Cape Fear River access to Wilmington, which allowed Confederate blockade runners to keep supplies coming in to the Confederate armies. Fort Fisher was equipped with over 44 heavy cannons, and we are demonstrating today a 32-pounder rifled and banded gun. This is a common gun at Fort Fisher and was heavily used throughout the war, and this particular model is a reproduction that was purchased by the Friends of Fort Fisher 10 years ago, a 501c nonprofit group. We fire this thing with a 5-pound charge of black powder, and our crew is half staff and half volunteers, and they're all very, very carefully trained through the state of North Carolina's Historic Weapons Program.
How many times, when do y'all fire this off every weekend?
No, we do not. It's about $100 a shot, plus and that's just for the gunpowder. It doesn't include staff and volunteer time. It would become prohibitively expensive. We try to do this at least once a month, every other month. Sometimes we fire this big gun here, this 32-pounder. We also have a field piece, a 12-pound Napoleon, that we occasionally set up here in the River Road Gate, where one was used historically during the Battle of Fort Fisher in January of 1865. And we fire that one. Sometimes we'll fire both of them. Other times we have demonstrators, private reenactors come down here who meet our safety standards, are allowed to come down here and do demonstrations.
Is there any upcoming events or anything planned out in the future?
The next event will be the second Saturday. I don't know the date off the top of my head, but the second Saturday of August next month. And at that point in time, we will be firing the 12-pound Napoleon, which is a field piece. Probably here, possibly out here in the airstrip. So still working out the details. That'll be our next event.
Thank you very much for talking to me. What was your name again?
Jim Steele.
Jim Steele. It's been a pleasure, man. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ready, sir? Receive. Commence firing. Fire!
Woo! Fucking awesome.
I don't think I got a good picture of that jump.
I was curious about your uniform. What's the deal with it?
This is a Confederate uniform that replicates those worn by the troops of 2nd Company C of the 36th North Carolina Troops, commanded by Captain Kenton Brady. Kenton Brady commanded the troops that were in charge of the artillery up in this gun emplacement, Shepherd's Battery, and they had a very distinguished role fighting here at Fort Fisher on January 15, 1865. Kenton Brady had a little bit of money, and he wanted to make sure that his men were well equipped and their uniforms were worn out, and out of his own pocket he procured fabric through the blockade at a private purchase and had the fabric shipped to the clothing depot, which I believe was in Raleigh, if I'm not mistaken, could be mistaken on that, but it was a North Carolina clothing depot, and they were sewn up in standard North Carolina uniform patterns. Believe it or not, the fabric is an English style, English army cloth in 2 shades. Basically, essentially 2 shades of gray. We get asked about the blue tint to the trousers, but this is what they were wearing. This particular company, there was a great variety in Confederate uniforms because of different dyes and different materials and different producers, but this is based upon the historic research that we've been able to do on Kenton Brady, which is fortunately very well documented.
Thank you very much, my man. I appreciate this.
You're welcome.